Hi everyone. Today I am explaining about Plato's ideal state. Plato is explained his ideal state in his famous book The Republic. So in his Republic he is explained about the what is the ideal state and how should be the population and what should be the villagers, what should be the state and what is the form of the state and how was the education system and what is the council and what is the class structure and what division of labor in the society. This whole explained in his ideal state in his book, in his famous book The Republic is the famous book, and in his famous book The Republic he explained these whole things about his ideal state. So here see, Plato's ideal state is based on certain fundamental principles such as classification of peoples into three classes. He classified three classes, means three division of labors in the society. Means he divided the society into three classes. uh, First one is guardian class. Guardian class is also known as the noblemen or the philosophers. Noblemen means philosophers in the society. So philosophers, who is the philosophers? Philosophers are well educated persons who are qualified the higher education, who has passed the examination which Plato was suggested to become the ruler. So this is the highest class, this is the ruler class he mentioned in his first classification. And second type is auxiliaries. Auxiliaries means soldiers. Soldiers means they should be the brave persons, and those are not qualified and those are not taken the much importance in the education. So they'll become the auxiliaries, they will become the soldiers. And third are called the producing classes, they are also called the workers. So he classified the society into three classes. First is guardian class, also called noblemen and philosophers. Second is auxiliaries, auxiliaries are called the soldiers. And third one is producing classes, they are called the laborer sections or workers in the society. Next, the Republic of Plato has been interpreted as utopia. Means Plato said that this ideal state of Plato is totally, it is an ideal. It is not based on reality. It is unreal. So it is not related to the material world. It is totally the spiritual world. So that's why it is called utopia, because he has constructed an ideal state. In it 5040 citizens must be there in a state. Means if he wants to establish the ideal state, that state's population should be not more than 5040 citizens and not to be less than the 5040 citizens. It should be approximate 5040 only, not more than that, not less than this population. So this is the ideal state, not is the real state, not is the material state of the Plato. Plato has compared the construction of an ideal state with an act of an artist who sketches an ideal picture without concerning himself with the fact whether individual characteristics features of imaginative picture. Means here totally Plato's ideal state is like an imaginary. It is totally based on imagination, like an artist. Artist makes a picture, sketches a picture, and totally it is based on ideal picture, not it is a real picture. So that's that here Plato is totally creating a society, creating a state based on imagination, not the real structure of it. He is not telling about the real structure, he is only talking about the imagination of a state. In the same way, in the same way In the same way, Plato has never thought of the possibility of the institution of his ideal state has the capability of ever becoming a reality or not. He has never thought of the impracticability of his concept of ideal state. Here we see Plato has never thought of the possibility of the institution. Means he didn't say that there is a possibility of the state. Only he said that that is the ideal state. He is not said that a state should be the possible to create, but he said, always said that my state should be the ideal state. And I wanted to establish the ideal state has the capability of ever becoming a reality or not. It is not a real, it is always untrue. It is not um, reality, it is only the ideal. He has never thought of the practicability of his concept of ideal state. Means it is totally based on impracticability, not based on practicability. So that's why his ideal state is totally untrue, totally imperfect. It is totally unethical. It is totally changeable. It is totally unchangeable. So that's why he said that my state, my ideal state is totally based on the ideal, based on imaginary perceptions of the human beings. So here Plato has built his state on the analogy of an individual organism. He always believes that the virtue of an individual and of the state were identical. So his ideal state is totally based on the analogy. Analogy means only comparison of humans. Comparison means comparing one thing to another thing. Comparison means here there is no reality, only comparing, only based on spirituality, only based on the untruth things. So he believes that the virtue of an individual and the state were identical, only it is based on the unreal things. So there are three classes of citizens in the state. So he also explained that in the society there is uh, three types of citizens. For example, according to Plato, state is the product of human soul, which is composed of three elements. So here he said that human soul is divided into three categories. First one is reason, second is courage, third is appetite. Reason means higher thinking, courage means here bravery, appetite means here working class. So like this he divided the soul into three categories or three elements. And like this soul he divided humans and classes of people also into three classes. First one I already explained you: guardian class, auxiliaries, producing class. So these are the three types of classification of society of the Plato. So Plato has advocated for functional specialization and division of labor among these three classes of people. When these three classes of people perform their respective duties without interfering in each other's affairs, then justice prevailed in an ideal state. If they are three classes are working their own spare, working their own limitations, they, if they are not disturbing each other, so society will be become peaceful. Society will be become cooperative, and every human being work their own spares, own limitations. So that society and that country or state will progress. Otherwise, if they are disturbing or if they are interfering in each other's matters, that will be give the disturbance, and it will create harm to human lives. So that's why here Plato suggested that guardian class should be perform his duties, auxiliary should must work within their limitations, producing class also work within their sphere. So that's why here he also suggest he divided based on their knowledge, based on their capacities, and he suggested that they should work within their limitations or within their spheres. Other thing is, the philosophers are called the kings is to rule the state, their responsibility. And the soldiers are to be charged of defense of the state. Soldiers means here military's work is to protect the state, and producing class to produce and make the and to protect the human beings with food scarcity. So this is the responsibility of the producing class. So these three classes has certain responsibilities, and they should work within their limitations. Producing class must philosopher class should rule properly to control the society and to make proper rules and regulations, and to protect the human beings life and their property and their their properties and everything, and to protect the country or territory with other states to to fight or to war. So within war or some other issues, philosophers should have to be protected, and soldiers should be protected at the borders of an territory, and producing class should be work for the to protect the food scarcity. So this is whole are three classes responsibilities to work within their limitations. And another one is concept of education. This is the another feature of the ideal state, concept of education. According to Plato, if all the people used to perform their allotted task without interfering in others affairs, then peace and prosperity will prevail in the state. So if these three classes are working within their limitations, within their borders, within their sphere, so there must be a peace, there will be a prosperity with prevail in the state. The philosopher king of the guardian class used to attain the necessary skills and knowledge through state regulated system of education. How a philosopher is becoming a ruler? Through the education only. Here Plato suggested education is necessary, and it is a key to make the philosopher ruler in the society. So here education is very very important to a ruler to protect well uh, to a country. Without education and without any qualification, no one can control the uh, society, no one can control the state. So that's why here he mainly focused, he mainly given importance to the education system, and that should be that education should be regulated by the state, not to be free with the state. Means whichever education is giving to the philosophers, that must be controlled by the state. So here free education should be provided to everyone. Those are becoming philosophers, those are interested citizens, those are wanted to become the philosophers ruler, should be a responsibility of the state to provide the education to become a philosopher or to become a ruler. So here according to Plato, the state regulated education, the according to Okay, according to Plato, the state regulated education system actually aims at developing wise rulers and virtuous citizens in the ideal state. He said that the state should be regulate the education and develop wise rulers and virtuous citizens in the ideal state. Means whoever wanted to become the philosopher, state must take the responsibility and develop their skills, and that ruler should be become the wise, then they will become the wise, then their responsibility to protect the country. This is the state controlled education system, where the idea was suggested by the Plato for the ideal state of a mm, in his Athens. Next one is next concept is concept of family. Means in his ideal state, how should be a family, and what is the type of a family. See, in the ideal state of Plato, the presence of the system of communism of property and family under this system of communism. Means he said that and there must be a communism, there must be a there must be a property, there must be a family for certain classes only, not to all classes. Already earlier I told to you that there is a three classes of Plato was suggested. First one is guardian class, second one is first one is philosophers, and second one is guardian class, and um, third one is appetite class or worker sections. So here he said that philosophers and guardians are they should not be they should not be a family and property. Means here philosophers and guardian class should not keep a property, should not make the family. Only here workers are responsible to do the marriage, to perform the marriage, and to keep the property with them, their own. So here they are exempted from the family and private to uh, two classes. Here philosophers are not having right to keep the family, and guardians also not having the right to keep the family and private property. Only here working classes, laborers classes are they are having right to keep the property and to keep the family. Plato considered attachment towards family and private property as the greatest obstacle in the way of achieving unity of the state. So he gave a reason here that um, if uh, uh, if philosophers and guardian class is attaching to the family and private property, they should not be become the um, a positive human being. They will be become corrupt, they involve in corruption, they will become they only think about their own interest. They should not focus on the no, unity of the state. So that's why here he said that these two classes are exempted from the family and the private property. So if they are exempted from family and private property, then only they will become the good citizens. They only become the good rulers. So that's why these two classes are exempted from these uh, communism. Therefore, he advocated communism of private property and family for the guardian class, under which they would not have private property and family of their own, and ultimately which would help them to devote themselves to the service of the state. So, if they are not having any private property, if they are not having any family, then only they will become the good, good uh, good servicemen. So that's why here they should not be focused, they should not be uh, involved in any private life. So that's why they will be survive their life without any family and without any private property. Then only the unity of society will be prevails. Next, s- features of the ideal state of Plato. So, what is the features of the ideal state we are seeing here? There are some important features of the ideal state of Plato. They are as follows. First one is rule of philosophy. So, how a philosopher will be rule, and what is the philosophers, and what how they will take the good education. This all we see here. See. Uh, Rule of philosophy. Plato is of the view that in an ideal state, the philosopher ruler should be prominent. He should has a broadened vision of unity of knowledge. Here, Plato said that a philosopher a philosopher ruler should be prominent. He should have broadened vision of unity of the knowledge. He said that there should not be a self interest of a ruler, and he should always think about the interest of the society, and whole society is one, and no one is his own relationship, and there must be a commonness among the he should be think that there is a commonness, and he must always think about the welfare of the society, not the selfish interest of the ruler. So, philosopher kings are immune for the provisions of law and public opinion. He said that always a philosopher think about the public opinion, and always he should give and work for the welfare of the human beings. He should not work not any time he should think about the self interest. He always think about the interest of the common people. So that's why this is the first work of the philosopher. And next is second responsibility, second feature of the uh, uh, um, ideal state is no unqualified absolutism. Means if a ruler is working, if a ruler is uh, doing a job in his ideal state, uh, though there is neither any restraint of law nor of public opinion over philosopher rulers, but this is not an unqualified absolutism, it is not all despotism, because rule of philosophy is not free from the basic articles of the constitution. So here in his ideal state there is neither any restraint or nor public opinion. Means if there is no public opinion for the philosopher ruler, then also it is called he should work for the welfare of the community. So if he is not listening the public opinion, it is not called as a unqualified absolutism. So here always he should be work for the uh, commonness, and he should be work for the welfare of the community only, not his own self interest or selfishness. It is not all despotism, because rule of philosophy is not free from the basic articles of the constitution. Means if he is working, he is working individually, not taking the public opinion, that whole his own rules and regulations are not dependent in his self interest. It is totally become it depends upon the constitution of that state. So he is not working individually, he is not taking his own interest, he is not focusing any community's welfare. He should work for the all and territories in independence, and his interest should not be to support to any community. His always interest to depend and focus based on the welfare of the community, welfare of the state, welfare of the territory. So next, third one is control over the education system. Here all I already explained to you that when in his ideal state of the Plato, if he wanted to become a philosopher ruler, that education system is controlled by the state only. So that's why here state is totally responsible to create a philosopher, to give the proper education to them, to train them well, and to give them proper to provide them proper competition, and to make them good and true knowledge. Then only it is the it is the prior responsibility, it is the first responsibility of the is state to provide the good education and well education to them. Then only they will become the philosophers, or they will become the rulers. So this is called, this is the main feature of the philosopher the ideal state. And he also, Plato also focused more to the education system. That should be the state controlled education system in his ideal state. Next, fourth one is justice in ideal state. So here, in Plato's ideal state, justice is also a main concept. Here he said that justice is the main feature of Plato's republic, and it is also present in his ideal state. Justice is the bond which binds every member of society together. It forms a harmonious union of individuals. Here he said, here Plato is explaining that it is in the ideal state, justice is very necessary, and without justice no one is maintain the good relationship. No one is free with another person. So here justice is only a one prominent thing. We can we can depend, and we can totally believe on it. So that's why we have to be maintain, and we have to be protect the justice. And this is the responsibility of the judiciary, this is the responsibility of the judges to maintain the proper decorum, and to maintain the proper commonness, and to maintain the well educated persons, to call to appoint them, and to maintain the good and well and a peaceful society in the ideal state. So here he also given importance to the justice in his ideal state. Without justice, no one can maintain the society, no one can peacefully survive their life. So that's why he also focused in his ideal state justice. This is the main and prominent concept. Next, uh, fifth one is censorship of art and literature. He also suggested that art, not education, art and literature is very important. It is also necessary. If any if any interested human beings or individuals or citizens are there, so we should be state should be provide and give them such provide them such handicrafts and something to them, to make and to progress within its field. So here he gave an importance to the art and horticulture and literature also. Next, a system of communism. So this is also very important concept in his ideal state. So here in his communism system of communism, Plato explained that Plato was of the view that guardian class should live under the system of communism of property and family. The rulers and soldiers do not possess any property of their own. I already told you, I already explained you that the rulers and the soldiers are exempted. There is no property and there is no private family for them, and only the working classes are having property and the family. So they only can keep private property and family. These two classes are not, they do not have right to keep the family and to keep the property, so they are exempted. This he suggested in his system of communism. Next, seventh one is equality among men and women. Here, uh, Plato was the first philosopher. He gave equal importance to two genders, equal justice to two genders, both men and women, in certain spheres, that is economically they are equal, men and women, and socially men and women. So in social aspects, men and women are equal. In intellectual and political upliftment, men and women are equal. This is explained by the Plato. It can be said that Plato can be regarded to be the first feminist of his times. I already told you that he is the first philosopher. He is the supporter. He is the first supporter of the feminism in his philosophy. Next, principle of functional specialization. In his functional specialization, Plato said that Plato is of the view that due to the multiple wants, an individual could not fulfill all his desires by himself alone due to lack of capacity. Thus, cooperation among individuals should be necessary to satisfy their mutual desires. Some people are specialized in performing some certain tasks. Here he said that there is a classification of society, like philosophers and guardian class and working classes. So based on their capacities, they will become the philosophers, and they will become guardian classes, they will become the worker sections. So if he is having lack of capacity, that's why he became a worker. If he is lacking some capacity, that's why he became a guardian. He is having capacity, that's why he became a philosopher. So that's why he said that there is a functional specialization. Based on their specialization, we have to divide the society into classes. So otherwise, if we are not classifying them, we cannot maintain the society properly. Who will work, produce the uh, produce the food grains, and who will be control the, who will be become the soldiers, and who will be become the philosophers, we cannot identify. So that's why based on their capacities we have to divide the society. That will be called as a functional specialization in the view of Plato. Thus cooperation among individuals should be necessary to satisfy. So if we are dividing, then there must be a cooperation. If we are dividing based on their capacity, but there must be a unity, there must be a understanding between the classes. This is the view of Plato. Some people are specialized in performing some certain tasks. Means philosopher is his own capacity, guardian class his own capacity, working sections his own, their own capacity. So that's why these specialization only they will perform. So that's why here functional specialization is also very very important. So this is this idea was, this concept was explained by the Plato in his ideal state. Thank you so much.